one of the senior advisors of strategic partnership at FreedomWorks and one of the champions of parents' rights, Tamara Farah. Tamara, great to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me.
I think this ruling got lost in the holiday hoopla, but it seems to be so significant. Tell us a little bit about what the 11th Circuit Court did, the Federal Appeals Court, and its ruling on Title IX, why it's so significant.
It is so significant because it protects the privacy rights of children. Since we can remember, bio girls have gone to the bathroom in the girls' bathroom and bio boys in the boys' bathroom. And they have determined that it will remain that way, and that there won't be special treatment for those who identify as trans and still are bio girls or bio boys. And I think this is a very important decision that's been made. And so the majority opinion was written by Judge Lagoa, and it begins by describing the dispute as involving the unremarkable, as I kind of mentioned, and nearly universal practice of separating school bathrooms based on biological sex, and that the majority disagree with the trans students' theory that separation of bathrooms on the basis of biosex necessarily discriminates against trans students. No one wants to discriminate against trans students. There is freedom of choice. Those are family decisions in regard to that identity. But to go that next step further and allow a bio boy, for example, as it was I believe in this case, who identifies as, trans in the girls' bathroom is very problematic, not only from the precedent that they've discussed, but also from the rights, as I mentioned, of the girls themselves. Many of us remember the tragedy in Loudoun County where a girl was sexually molested and abused by a trans bio boy who came into that restroom. And the first incident was swept under the rug by the superintendent and district officials. And we could only see that would happen, I'm sure, in greater numbers if this policy was passed. And there's, in my opinion, no reason why a trans bio boy or a trans bio girl can't use another bathroom that's been set aside for them. What I've read about that is they call it the walk of shame to go to that bathroom, which makes no sense to me if they're proud of their decision to identify as trans. So I think this is a great decision.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. And I wanted to ask you, we all know that politics is downstream from culture. So I think that we are all hoping that this will be upheld by the Supreme Court. But my concern is that culturally we are in a place where it's very hard to do an about face, because we've seen for a long time the degradation of wife and mother culture. For the first time in history, or you have more women who are childless and unmarried, and then at the same time the degradation of men with toxic masculinity. And it seems like we are moving to this place culturally where, I don't know if there's a remedy culturally, and then of course that trickles down to politics.
I think that's an interesting point. What do you all think about this, though? I actually believe it's the tyranny of the minority in this incident. In the case of gender identity, it's a fantastical, concept. It's completely unscientific. Again, I support people's freedom to make those choices. It's a free country. So we're not trying to make that illegal. But for this, actually very small percentage of the population to be trying to demand major changes to our laws based on something that's unscientific, that's another thing altogether, in my opinion.
Yeah, this is amazing. In Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis, he's not been afraid to wade into this or other culture war issues. How important is it that states are exercising their rights? We've got about a minute left.
Absolutely. It's very important. As you know, this circuit court decision will affect Florida, right, Alabama, and Georgia, but it's going to set a precedent for the entire country, as well as for the decision that is still being made, technically still being made by the Biden administration, the changes to Title IX. However, it'll be interesting to see how this court ruling, in its opinion, will impact that. And then, as you mentioned, this will likely go to the Supreme Court, because there's another not contradictory, but you know what I'm saying, another circuit court ruling in opposition to this one. So this incident, I hope, will make it to the Supreme Court.
All eyes are there, and all eyes are grateful to Tamara that you came on to get us up to date. This is such an important ruling, didn't get a lot of attention. So grateful that you could be with us today. Thank you.
Thanks
All
for
right,
having me.
folks, it's hard to believe the hour passed so quickly, but we're so grateful you watched today. Happy New Year from Amanda and I. We're so grateful, and we will have another